this team cannot play the way that they have the last couple of weeks and expect to come back against the Kansas City Chiefs. So when you look at the Kansas City Chiefs and what they've been able to do, they just beat what I think is still the best team in football. I really do believe that. Now, the Chiefs were just better on that day. Sometimes the best teams don't win. You know, you look at the Patriots, what have you. That being said, they beat this team and they beat them soundly at M&T Bank Stadium in the elements. Great defense, very, very good offense, well-coached team, and they low-key dominated that game. They low-key dominated. They made big plays in big moments. The fumble at the half-yard line, all of those other things. That was all things that they forced. The 49ers now 2 weeks in a row have really put together piss poor performances, if we're being honest, in the first half. And in the second half have done a much better job. What is your confidence level going into a game versus the Chiefs?
So now that I'm looking at this, what I was just working on, I'm a little bit more confident. Right now, I'm gonna be real. I said it yesterday. I tweeted it out. I asked for everybody's confidence level. Got a lot of answers. Anything from people fully confident to not confident at all. I'm right in the middle. I feel like I got like a 5 right now. I don't know how to predict this game yet. If I'm predicting with my mind, I don't know how to call it right now. If I'm predicting with, my 49er homerism, obviously I'm going to pull for the Niners and hope the Niners win this one. But I was just looking at the 49ers and Chiefs common opponents, and they have 8 of them this year. The Chiefs are 5-3 against those opponents. The 49ers are 4-4, so very close. Then I broke it down even further. The Chiefs against AFC opponents are 4-0, but against NFC opponents, they're 1-3. The 49ers against AFC is almost opposite. They're 1-3 against the common AFC opponents, but against the NFC opponents, they're 3-1. So the Vikings being the only team they lost to in the NFC. So actually very close record-wise, 5-3 versus 4-4. The Chiefs seem to do really well against the AFC. The Niners seem to do really well against the NFC. So I find that very interesting. I wasn't aware that it was going to be so close.
Yeah, and I want to bring up this comment because it kind of goes back to what we were just saying with Purdy. Like, you're not going to have flawless performances, and I agree. The team's not going to have a flawless performance either, but you can't go half the game playing poor, right? You don't have to be perfect. That doesn't mean everything goes right, but there is a middle ground, right? There's great play, and there's poor play. Can you at least give me like a mediocre or a good play? I'm not asking for great and flawless, but playing. I'm sorry, they've played poor the last 2 weeks. When it went into the whole first half, they couldn't put up points. They put up a total of 17 points in the first half of those games. 4 quarters, 17 points. Like, that can't happen against the Chiefs. The Chiefs, Patrick Mahomes. Again, there are few quarterbacks that can do this in the league, where they dictate to the defense how that day is going to go. And out of all the quarterbacks, Patrick Mahomes is the best at that. He decides how this game flow goes, right? The defense isn't going to decide nothing. If you think this defense is just going to come in and dominate that game and come back if I'm wrong, I would disagree with that going into this game. So the 49ers are going to have to score points. They cannot leave a half with 7 points or 10 points at the first half and give the other team so many opportunities to score. Because again, Green Bay, the reason they didn't put up a lot of points wasn't because they weren't moving the ball. Defensively, the last 2 first halves, these teams have been moving the ball at will on the 49ers, Ryan. At will. Now, Green Bay couldn't cash in. They messed up on a 4th down. They got down there. They just couldn't cash in. You give Patrick Mahomes those chances, he's cashing in, is my bet. If Jared Goff and the Lions are cashing in, I think he's cashing in. So you can't let them between the 20s do whatever they want. That is my concern. As far as my confidence level, though, I'm at probably an 8. I mean, I'm confident that they're going to stay in this game. I really am. I think this is going to be a highly contested game. I don't think it's going to be a blowout either way. These are 2 very good teams. I'm not at a 10 because I'm not positive they're going to win, but I know that they're going to have their chances. And I think some of these injuries with the Chiefs, these are big injuries. They're missing some key players going into this Super Bowl. big time
I know
players.
Amina is hurt. Who else is hurt besides Amina?
Their all pro left guard, Joe Thuney, is likely not going to play. He didn't play this last week. To be fair, they were without these guys this last week too, right? Amina, who got hurt in the game, didn't play much. Thuney didn't play going into this game. And then Derek Noddy didn't play either, and he's on IR. He's for sure not going to play. Thuney's still up in the air, but it's more like 95% chance he's probably not going to play. So this team is missing some key players going into this game, and I think that they can be had a little bit. I do. I think the 49ers can put together a very good performance here. They just can't do what they've done in the first half these last couple weeks. They can't. They can't do that.
Yeah.
Not against the Chiefs.
Yeah, the Chiefs are tough, man, because they do have a really good defense, probably the best defense underneath or under in the Patrick Mahomes era, which is interesting. We're used to the Chiefs being a offensive team, and they still are as long as Patrick Mahomes and Travis Kelce are on the team. Isaiah Pacheco's great. Outside of those guys, though, I mean, they lead the NFL in receiver drops. I mean, the 49ers got to figure out a way to limit Travis Kelce, stop Isaiah Pacheco, and just really, you don't want it sounds weird, but to put the game at Patrick Mahomes in the receiver's hands, but I think that's the best strategy. Like if you can take away Kelce, you can take away Pacheco and then leave it in freaking, Rice's hands and hopefully those guys continue to make big drops like they have been all year. It's going to be a tough game though. That defense is legit for the Chiefs and they got possibly the greatest quarterback of all time. We'll see how it finishes out. But the 49ers, I think they have the best skill players. And on paper, they have a really good defense. It unfortunately just hasn't translated into, numbers and statistics stopping the run. I'm hoping that the Chiefs don't just take a book out of or take a page out of the Lions book from the first half and just run the crap out of the ball. If the Chiefs run the hell out of the ball with Pacheco and they stay with it throughout the game, and then they work like some screens and dump offs like they've been doing a lot of with Patrick Mahomes and take a couple deep shots. I mean, it's going to be tough. This 49ers defense has to be ready. They got to figure it out. It's going to be an interesting game, man. I don't know how I'm ever going to feel 100% confident these 49ers are going to win this game. I can't see that coming to me. Now, can they win the game? Absolutely. It's just hard for me to say they for sure will.
Yeah, and I'm not going to pick a game today, but I've picked the 49ers to win every game this season. I don't think I'm going to deviate from that. So I'm confident enough to pick them to win, but not confident or arrogant enough to realize like Patrick Mahomes is Patrick Mahomes. Now, one thing I will say about the Ravens, and I didn't watch a big chunk of that game, so correct me if I'm wrong for anybody in the chat. It's like, hey, you didn't watch. That's probably true. I saw maybe 2.5 quarters of that game because I was doing the flag stuff and was at the game myself. But from what I saw, I would have put that game on the offensive coordinator, a lot of it on the offensive coordinator, Monken, for his game plan. Gus Edwards was running the ball effectively, and he only had a few runs. Why they deviated from running up the middle, which is exactly where the problem is in that Kansas City defense, it hasn't been great all year. Then you add in the fact that Noddy is out and Chris Jones was hobbling in that game. Why they didn't continuously pound the rock right through the A and B gaps makes zero sense to me. I think that was there for them to be had, and they didn't do it. And I think that's something that they're probably regretting a couple days later. The 49ers are going to stick to the run game, and that's what gives me why I'm at an 8 for a confidence level, because I know that they're not going to deviate from that plan. That's what they've always done. Or I should say, I hope they don't deviate. We've seen Kyle do this in big moments before, but right now, I think Kyle is kind of gotten over some of his woes. I really like what he did this last game. He stuck to everything he wanted to do, stuck to his guns, and it paid off big time. I think the 49ers are going to establish a run. They're going to stick to the run, and I think that's going to be huge for them in this game.
Has to be, because you got to keep the ball out of Mahomes' hands. And the best way to do that is run the ball and play the time of possession game, which Kyle loves to do. So hopefully that's the plan. Hopefully it works, man. And really, it's the defense. I actually don't really worry about the 49ers. I feel like they're going to score points, even though this Chiefs defense is good. I'm actually, a lot of people are feeling the opposite of me. I'm more worried about the defense stopping the Chiefs than I am the offense being able to score on the Chiefs. even though the Chiefs
I'm kind
defense
of
is
with
really
you.
good.
No,
Yeah.
I'm kind of with you. I'm actually yes, I'm with you on that one a little bit as well. I'm
Mhm.
curious to see too because I imagine I'm going to go back and watch Kansas City and a lot over these next couple weeks and see what they prefer to do against specific quarterbacks and what have you, specific running backs. But I imagine we're going to see a lot of single high safety, which basically that's going to be them daring the 49ers to throw the ball and having confidence also in their corners because they are very, very good, and their safeties because they are very good. And just
Yeah.
saying, hey, we think we can cover with one high safety. We're going to bring a safety down. We're going to be in the box. That's going to help us stop the run. You go beat us with your arm. And I think that's where things get interesting because, Brock's played very well. Ayuk has been able to get separation in some of these games, but man, there's nowhere to hide against this secondary. It doesn't matter where. I mean, you could line up Ayuk as in the slot, and they've got a great nickel corner. So no matter what, they're not going to be running free all over the field the way that we're kind of used to it being. And I'm curious to see how that plays into things if that's the approach they decide to take and go one high. If I'm the Chiefs, I'm going one high and saying, hey, you know what? We're not going to allow you to run the ball with consistency on us. And we believe in L'Jarius Sneed, McDuffie, and some of these other guys, Reed and everybody else out there to go
Reed
out
is
and
really
make
good.
these plays. Yeah.
Reed
Yeah.
is really good. I've been watching him in all the Chiefs games I've watched this year. Reed just really jumps out to me. Justin Reed he's a hell of a player.